Okay, I'm joined with Alex Hubler. Thank you for joining today. In the Roundtable podcast, we have officially come up with a name after the Minnesota Real Estate Roundtable Facebook and Instagram group. So, Alex, you are recently joined the Pomerleau team, but you have been in real estate for how long?
Since 2015, so 10 years.
10 years in real estate. So I always ask this question if I find somebody that's been in real estate for 10 years. 94 to 95% of all real estate agents don't make it 10 years in the business. It's not a statistic that we're proud of. Like it's a very tough business. What has allowed you to stay diligent and stay in the business as long as you have?
Consistency, not letting off the gas, staying focused on selling homes, helping people find their homes, and just staying focused on real estate.
Wow. I mean, that's a big kudos to you, to be frank. That's not a popular thing where you get to say, I'll sit down with somebody for 10 years. That's been doing it for 10 years. So do you, have you found a niche in that period of time? I know you live around Lake Minnetonka, but I've seen you have listings all over the place. But is there a certain area of real estate that you prefer to work in? Or are you pretty?
I say when somebody asks what area I serve, I say that I've sold homes as far east as Stillwater and as far west as Montrose. But all roads generally lead back to my hometown of Mound.
Wow, you got some expensive real estate over there, so it's not too bad, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Do you actually make it out on Lake Minnetonka much?
Yeah, sometimes. Last summer, I could probably count on one hand, but yeah, it's fun.
Are you a fisher, or do you like water sports? Like, what do you do if you go on?
Yeah.
Do you drink beer?
I like fishing. I like tubing and all of that.
Yeah.
My girls, I've got a 2.5-year-old and a 5.5-year-old. So it's fun to get them out on the water. And I actually did kayaking last summer with my older daughter.
Now, like sitting down, or are you the standing board thing?
No, sitting down.
Sitting down.
In my lap, basically.
Okay. All right. So then outside of real estate, before we get into like the nitty gritty of things, where do you kind of like to spend your time? What do you like to do outside of work?
I like to just stay active and stay fit. I like mountain biking. I like road biking. I like basically anything that keeps me moving.
Okay. Why did you get into real estate? What were you doing before, and then why real estate?
So I was a mortgage processor.
Okay.
For 5 years, I worked at one of the largest lenders in the nation, and it was a great place for training, a great place for learning that side of the business. And I just kind of knew my clients there were all across the country, and I didn't get to meet them. So getting to meet my clients in person and being able to go and see the houses and frankly not sitting at a desk all day kind of appealed to me. So
that makes sense.
So yeah.
I think the other thing I got to say about you is, I've known you for a little bit. You're fairly, like I said, new to the real estate, or to the Pomerleau team, real estate team, but you are not very transactional with your clients. I've always known you're very much like relationship based. And I think I really look at that as like, wow. So when you were doing your previous job, I bet that was very transactional.
Yes.
And allows you to kind of hit that side, part of you that no, I want the relationship side.
Yep, 100%. You nailed it exactly. Once that deal was closed on the mortgage side, I'd never talk to that person ever again. No, there was no need to, and not to mention they were probably in California or New York.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like getting those big wins mean a lot to me because I probably know my client a lot more than just a client.
Absolutely. You get to know their kids, the house they're going to put the Christmas tree in, right? You get to know their families. Like that's a big deal. And you spend so much time with them on such a big financial decision. Yeah. Some of my best friends that I've ever had came from helping them buy or sell real estate. Yeah. So you clearly, being in real estate for 10 years, you could do it on your own. Recently joined the Pomerleau real estate team. Tell me a little bit about that transition and why you decided that the team was a good fit for you.
Yep. So in 2023, I could see, interest rates were going up. The market was kind of finally starting to, peak out there, and it was kind of like all good things leading up till 23, and then you kind of feel a little bit of a slowdown, and you kind of muscle through it, and then you start to look forward and look for where can I improve my business, and I started looking into lead generation tactics, and I started looking into, how can I leverage my business and how can I grow this even if the market may not be, like it was in 21 or 22. And so, do I want to create systems myself, or do I want to tap into an existing system and team that has done it at a high level for a long time?
Sure. So where did you find the final decision come from? Like, where's the straw that kind of broke and like, yep, I want to be part of that group?
I think it was that, I started on a team when I first got into real estate.
That's right.
And that was a great experience. It was with a top producing team. I gained a lot of experience. But then when I was on my own, I thought, no way would I ever join a team. It wasn't something that I thought I wanted. And then, after years of being on my own, I think that, I've followed the Pomerleau team from day one in real estate, and I've had a lot of respect for the Pomerleau team. And it's a team that has staying power, has a great reputation, and does things the way that I want to do business. And I think that that's a lot of the reason that I'm with the brokerage to begin with, is that the Pomerleau team's culture kind of kind of flows into the brokerage as a whole. So I think you just called me out of the blue to recruit me for some event that wasn't even joining the team.
No, it was, hey, do you want to come to an event?
Exactly.
Yep.
And I had been toying with the idea of joining a team. I didn't really consider outside the brokerage, but I at least did look at a high level. But when you called me, I was just kind of like, I'm so glad you're calling me, Matt, because I love the Pomerleau team.
I love that. Well, it was really interesting. You said that 2024, I mean, it was one of the two worst years in real estate that we've seen in a long time as a nation. We've luckily at the Pomerleau team seen some growth, right? Thank goodness. But let's say in the whole U.S. and country, in 1995 was the last time we saw the amount of homes sold as last year, and that's really not good. But I do feel like last year was the floor, and we're starting to see and pick our way up out of it. Have you noticed that this year you're starting to have more people call you, having more conversations?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about how people can reach you and what type of conversations you're having. It's interesting because interest rates are still fairly high. They've come down a tiny little bit recently, but it's interesting how that's not as much of a sticking point as people may think. People still need to buy and sell a house, no matter there are situations that people need to move, and it is interesting how I've had more outreach in 2025 than I'd say for sure in all of 23, and arguably part of 2024. So, no, I've noticed a significant uptick in 25. Yeah, I would echo that, everything you said. It's been a great first start, I guess, for 2025. So do you have a preference in terms of reaching out to you? If someone's like, hey, I'm thinking about buying or selling real estate in the next 2 years, 1 year, when should they contact you?
As early as possible, really. I mean, there may be variables in your situation that require more time. Mm-hmm. So I'd say the earlier the better. If you're going to have a job change coming up, or if you've got kids on the way, or kids graduating, or whatever it might be, it's always better to plan ahead. So I'd say a couple months to up to a couple years, even depending on your situation.
Okay, that's super helpful. And I would say the same thing. It's never too early to talk to us, right? Mm-hmm. I know you're a great real estate agent. You do an insanely good job for your clients, and we're lucky to have you here on the team. It's definitely a mutual benefit, right? So you had mentioned interest rates, and I find that, I'll just touch on that for a second. I have not had any conversations this year about rates. They just kind of stopped. People are just like, you know what? I guess it is what it is. I'm just going to move, and whatever the rates are, they are, mm-hmm. right? We're down from the peak, though, right? It was like 8%, that's really high. Mm-hmm. And now we're like, today we learned it's about 6.5%, and the ability to get down under 6 to 5.75 is very possible. With the spring market kind of coming, is there any tips you would recommend to a seller or to a buyer in terms of getting yourself prepared and ready?
I'd say, make that contact early, because we want to plan as the best that we can, and looking forward is how we're going to put together the best game plan to sell your home. It might take you a couple months to get ready, but it might take you a couple years to get ready. So, my number one tip is just reach out. reach out, give me a call, shoot me a text message so that you can get a pulse on what's happening in the market. Because the single family home market is doing different than, say, the condo market right now.
Very different.
So if you're looking at, say, single family versus condo, that may be something that, a factor that may play a role in your timeline.
Yeah. Well, and what I have found is, and you can tell me if this is something you experienced or not, I get a lot of calls after someone had no plans on selling. They go through a couple builder open houses, or they go through the parade of homes. And the next thing you know, they're like, hey, I bought a home this weekend. Can you sell my house? Mm-hmm. I was like, did you have anyone look at the contract to help you buy a home? Well, no, we didn't think it'd be, because the builder was nice, right? So that's why I say early and often is super important. I don't want to be that person that come in and be like, you are in a bad situation because of X, Y, and Z reasons, because we didn't have a conversation early.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. I think that's a perfect example of, somebody reaching out to a builder, moving forward with them, and not contacting you first. Because my number one question would be, do you know how much equity you have in your house? Because that may dictate, how much you're going to put down. It may dictate, your overall budget.
But it was a pretty house.
Yeah, I bet it was.
And that's okay. It can be a great house. It's beautiful, and the salespeople are super nice. I think that was we talked about it offline here. Is like, that is such a big thing. Or you go through an open house, had no plans on selling. You fall in love with the house. You just want to make sure, if it's a little bit in the back of your mind, that you reach out to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 100%.
So now that you've been with the Pomerleau team for a couple of months, what have you noticed in terms of your ability to either leverage the team, the systems and processes? What are the things that you notice are going to help your clients?
You mentioned it, leverage. Leverage is the number one thing. What can I do on my own is a question that I had to ask myself before joining the team. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot. I can achieve a lot on my own. But then the follow-up question is, what can I achieve with a team like the Pomerleau team? And it's the leverage that makes that happen. And since I've been here, I've noticed a crazy increase in my lead generation. I was caught up in paperwork, and I was caught up with, the things that are time consuming for an agent, rather than focusing on, reaching out and making contact with the people who are buying and selling homes. So I've noticed a big increase in my availability and my ability to, serve my clients better.
That's so good. Because now all that time that you were spending doing paperwork or ordering this or coordinating that, now you can spend it face-to-face with them, on the phone with them, helping procure a buyer for their house, or helping a buyer find a house. Mm-hmm. Right? Those are, I don't know, hundreds of hours a year that you are now able to protect your time by doing the things that really truly matter to your clients.
Yep, 100%. And furthermore, it's at the times that you get really busy that it's going to help even more too. If you've got multiple listings, it makes it that much easier to, give everybody the care and attention that they deserve. So.
Absolutely. And they're going to appreciate it.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Matt.